Now, before we start, I just wanna say that I'm not a Nazi, I'm just a race realist, and the reality is that the human race is far and above the best race in 40k. Every other race is an affront to God, and as such their removal from this galaxy is not only a good thing, it's also extremely justifiable. So today I will open up your eyes as to why Imperium is fully in the right to not trust any Xenos, alongside why hunting them down and exterminating them wherever they try to hide is a net positive for the galaxy. To all the Salamander fans, you shouldn't be ashamed of Vulcan killing the Eldar children. The only thing you should be ashamed of is that he didn't kill more. Stand proud because you cooked them children alive, but they were Xenos, so it was justified. But before we do that, more than 95% of you who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so if you enjoyed this one, remember to click the like and subscribe button. Okay, enough shilling, let's first cover the degenerates, the Eldar. Now, I'm sure that you all heard questions in the fandom along the lines of why doesn't Imperium just help Eldar awake Iniad and beat or at least severely weaken Slanesh? And then you hear something along the lines of why did the stupid Death Watch stop Eldar when he was performing the ritual to awake Iniad? If they hadn't done that, 40k Galaxy would have been marginally better. And then they conveniently leave out the part saying that trillions of human beings would die as a byproduct of this ritual and countless worlds would be lost. But sure, why doesn't Imperium help Eldar? Well, it's because Eldar are untrustworthy and egotistical cunts. Whenever Imperium fights alongside them, they usually fight in the back, allowing Imperium to absorb all the casualties, and then they just leave at the climax of battle so that Imperium takes even more casualties. And what exactly do you think would happen once Eldar defeat Slanesh and regain their full psychic powers? Do you think that they would be like, I guess we should still stay in our craft worlds and help out the Imperium? Or would they say, let's reconquer our empire back from these monkeys who now occupy its ruins? And don't forget, pre-fall Eldar civilization was equal or stronger than Dark Age humanity, with all their men of iron fully united. So how do you think a war between the Neo-Eldar Empire and the Imperium that's ambushed and fighting on all sides would go? Not even ultramarine plot armor would be sufficient enough for this catastrophe. You would need to somehow turn Lamenter's luck polarity to opposite direction to even stand a chance. And this is all without even mentioning the Eldar's reborn pantheon. And before you are like, no, Eldar would never do that, they would actually put all their focus on fighting the demons instead. I want to remind you that there are specifically several craft worlds like Biel-Tan that hate any and all non-Eldar and want to bring back the Eldari Empire. And remember, now you have buffed them so much that their average infantryman is comparable to the God Emperor of Mankind during the Great Crusade. Not even joking. Eldar are fucking N-words, the German ones, not the American ones, who are only not genociding humanity right now because they lack the power to do so. I just want you to know that I have skipped a lot in this Eldar portion of the video. Eldar don't do anything if it's not in their best interest. Read any book about Eldar and Imperium's cooperation and you will see that they are 100% willing to sacrifice 100 million people if it saves just one Eldar life. The only time they help Imperium is when their Farseers tell them that it's gonna be beneficial for them as well. Like for example the resurrection of Guilliman. If Guilliman wasn't resurrected, Imperium would fall, chaos would rule the galaxy, and the Eldari craft worlds would get hunted down by Emperor's children and other chaos forces. It was of such paramount importance that even if a couple thousand Eldar died, it was worth it because survival of the Eldari race was on the line. Next up are the Elderly, aka the Necrons, and by proxy the Silent King. Now on the first glance he may seem a bit trustworthy, you know, a regular guy fighting against biological horrors that are the Nids to save the sentient life in the galaxy. He even fights directly on the front lines with the Imperial forces and doesn't flee the battlefield at the most advantageous time. But just like the Eldar, he has ulterior motives. He wants to return Necrons to their original flesh and blood forms once again. That's literally the only reason he fights against the Nids. He has also killed countless humans in Pariah Nexus by ripping their souls from their bodies. And although Pariah Nexus' plot never went anywhere, it's heavily implied that he wanted to do this to the entire galaxy, in order to basically kill the Chaos Gods, make Tyranids unable to operate in the galaxy, and have a bunch of suitable flesh just lying around that he can put into stasis chambers until he manages to figure out this whole meat suit issue. And anyway, just like the Eldar, what do you think that Necrons are gonna do once they all wake up, unify, and have a viable, fleshy, reproducing population? At best, they're gonna make Imperium a small client empire at some unknown corner of the galaxy to serve as a speed bump for any outside galaxy invaders. So basically, if some particularly large Tyranid fleet hits, it has a decent shot of making humanity entirely extinct. Now, the humanity wouldn't be entirely extinct. There would still be some humans in Trajan's museum, but we all know that he wouldn't give them over without a fight. So humanity would be functionally extinct. Okay, next up are the British, aka Orks, and do I really need to say anything? At best, if Orks rule the galaxy, you would be a slave with a life expectancy of a week, and even that's optimistic. You should also never, and I do mean never, trust Orks, because they lie and lie and lie all the time. I mean, just look at Gazgul's doctor. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that he forged his own credentials. And in another story, humans and Orks were fighting together until they won the battle, and then the Orks immediately turned upon humans and butchered them to a man. Do not trust the Orks, they will betray you, always. Next up are the Nids and Gene Stealers, and unless you are into hentai, I don't think I have to explain why getting consumed alive would be a bad thing. And if you are into Nid hentai, you should be thrown into burning pit of Turkmenistan and never be spoken of again. You are a race traitor and deserve a fate befitting of such who bear that title. And yeah, there is no negotiating with the Nids. Just like you are not gonna start making contracts and deals with the chicken that you're gonna slaughter, Tyranids aren't gonna start making alliances with the Imperium anytime soon, or ever for that matter. Next up are the Tau, and they are by far the most insidious Xeno race on this list. To an untrained eye, they may seem like 40k's good guys, with all their bullshit of together we stand and through the power of friendship we can overcome any obstacle. But the closer you look, more you realize the Tau are literally 1984 mixed with Brave New World. Let me explain. Some of this is gonna be speculation, but it's based upon said lore and it does fit their actions, so whatevs. Through the use of both voluntary and involuntary sterilization, they keep the numbers of their Xeno allies in check, including the humans. These methods range anywhere from propaganda efforts, subtly implementing ideas that you shouldn't have kids for the greater good of others, poisoning the water supply with chemicals to keep the fertility rate down, and forcefully sterilizing people that have committed crimes. But by far the best one is simply improving the lives of general population whilst keeping the cost of living high as to make the people think that they are the ones in control of their actions. Alongside moving people out of the rural areas where fertility rate is much higher into the cities where fertility rate is much lower. These methods are by far the most effective because they make people docile and less prone to rebellions, alongside limiting their population and even making them go towards extinction without them even knowing. If every family of 2 people only has 1 child, well, in 80 years the population is gonna halve. So then you can bring more Tau to the planet while saying that they must be there for defense and the industrial workforce because there's simply not enough humans on the planet. Do this for 2 or 3 generations and then you can say that the remaining humans are gonna be sent to a planet better suited for them and that the Tau are gonna remain on this one. This is by far the easiest method to achieve the depopulation, but it does rely on you being able to lie with statistics and make effective policies. For instance, inflationary figures. Example, instead of taking the price of main brand milk product and simply measuring how much its price went up and putting that into the official inflationary figures, what you can do instead is simply choose an off-brand milk product that only slightly went up in price because it diluted its milk in water, making it 75% milk and 25% water, and put that one into the official figures instead. Never mind that it has a less nutritional value, went through less regulation and tastes like shit. Milk is milk. And hey, so long as humans allow this to happen, they get what they fucking deserve. Oh yeah, and there are also periodic Tau commanders that every once in a while become genocidal and decide that all humans and Xeno auxiliaries Imperia must die and go on rampages killing everyone. So basically, if humanity joins the Tau, yes, you're gonna have better lives, but you are also gonna be driven to near extinction, and when an inevitable Tyranid or enemy fleet targets your reservational sector, you are most likely gonna go extinct. Just another race giving an ultimate sacrifice to the greater good. But what about Imperium allying with the Tau? They are trustworthy, right? If by trustworthy you mean inciting pro-Tau rebellions on Imperial worlds even during peacetime, striking undefended worlds and conquering them by force whenever Imperium is busy elsewhere, except that, yeah, they're totally trustworthy and reliable guys. They definitely don't only ally with the Imperium once they see an external enemy that they can't hope to fight alone. Also, let's see how they're gonna deal with an inevitable Men of Iron uprising once Chaos gains a greater interest in their empire. I'm sure that's gonna be fun, and that they are definitely not gonna have to be bailed out by Imperium and Mechanicus. And yes, I am aware that they did have a small AI uprising, but that's nothing compared to what Chaos is capable of. In short, humanity are God's chosen people. This galaxy was promised to us 10,000-ish years ago, and as Biggie himself said, fuck them Xenos. Damn, those Eldar hookers are hot. With this he was clearly referring to as to why Eldar specifically should be burnt alive, as we see in the scriptures by the teachings of Vulcan. Anyway, humanity number 1. Okay, that would be it from me. If you like this video, smash like and subscribe, comment that you agree if you are a true Imperial patriot, or disagree if you are a fucking Xeno sympathizing scum. Until the next time, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.